Hello, I'm Rylie Vlogs, and welcome to another installment of Horror Stories with Rylie. This story will be my terrible roommate. So it's not very long, and these videos come out every Saturday. So there's either going to be that they're edited together into one video or that they're separately premiering. But the woman across the hall, I believe that's the next story. Or whatever that might be, the next story, but I think that's the one. I'll be doing that the same day it will be coming out, whether it's with this video together or separately. So anyway, thank you for watching as usual. Please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know how you're enjoying this series. I know we kicked off with a bang, but yeah, we're gonna keep on going, keep on this spooky season. So my terrible roommate. I'm going to take you back to 2016, and I was in a program called Job Corps voluntarily myself. I was 21 at the time. I went there September, and yeah, I had just turned 21 in June. So yeah, newly 21, and everything wasn't going right at home with my mom. That was like a running cycle until you guys seen me get my own apartment. So, and I've never publicly spoken about it. That's going to be the last story. So yeah, just know things wasn't going right. It wasn't seeing eye to eye. I was working at the airport at the time, and I really liked working there. I just quit to leave, to get away. But yeah, I liked doing it. I put minor airline passengers on planes. And that was my job, and it's called in a company minor. That's just what they called us, as well as the children. So we didn't have like our own cool name or anything. But yeah, so we put the kids on the plane. It's like high stress, and it wasn't very much pay, I'm not gonna lie. But I enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it. I think since then they've gotten more money, but yeah. Good for them. But it was high stress. If you put one child on the wrong plane one time, you'd be fired, and you could be charged with kidnapping technically, even if you're not on the plane with them, because yeah, you put them on the wrong plane to the wrong place. So even if it's an accident, it's no such thing. Like, you're basically fired right on spot and could potentially have legal charges filed on you. So that's what made it high stress. But other than that, I mean, a really cool job. The kids are really like mature, grown for their age. Yeah. But anywho, so I was enjoying my job. 21, and yeah, it was rough because I didn't have a ride there. I didn't have a ride back, and I was paying like more than I made in an hour. I was paying 2 hours just to get to work. 2 hours there, 2 hours back. So I'm short 4 hours every day, like off rip, getting on the clock. So I would work extra to try to make up for it, and then if you go later, if I got home later, it would be more money and shortage of like lifts and cabs. That's why I would take jobs that I could bike or walk to, but I couldn't bike or walk to the airport, obviously. So yeah, it was costing an arm and a leg, but I did it because it made me happy, and I was trying to be independent, and me and my mom were not talking, and whenever we were not talking, she would use her car against me. But I'll elaborate more on that in her story. I'm not trying to give too much away in this one, but yeah, even though I couldn't, because it's deep, like how my brother is deep. But anywho, but yeah, so it just was a whole lot of going on. As you could tell, like, that was wearing me really thin, and even though, you know, I enjoyed the job itself, it was just too much extra layers just trying to get there, you know. So yeah, I was just like, what can I do? And I didn't have a license at the time. So a big catalyst for me going to Job Corps, usually, you know, it's young people, it's ages 16 to 24 unless they changed it. But yeah, it's to help you get jobs, job placement. They can help you get into the military because it is a government-run program. They can help you get into the military, and they can also help people get their high school diploma. I already had my high school diploma, so I had no issue finding jobs. I had jobs since I was 16, so I had a job history, and so the only thing I wanted to learn was how to drive. Keep that in mind. Okay, he's still asleep. Sorry. Anyway, but keep that in mind. So yeah, flash forward. It's been some years, so forgive me if I like some chronological stuff is like a little fuzzy, but I'm pretty sure I remember the main points. So yeah, I had a roommate. I don't know if we'll give her a name. Just my terrible roommate, okay? My terrible roommate. She was 16, and that's part of what makes it so terrible is the fact that she's a minor. In this story, not no mo. She grown, honey. So hopefully she doesn't do shit like this anymore. But anyways, so my terrible roommate. I ended up being her roommate kind of further down the line. And it ended up just being me and her in a room because other girls on the wing where we lived in our dorms had graduated. You know, there would be a lot of females, all different ages, some adults, some not adults, some with diplomas, some not with diplomas, some with kids, some not with kids, like different lifestyles, you know, because we're underprivileged youth, so to speak. So obviously everybody's story is different, just like in life anywhere else. Even in a privileged setting, everybody's story is different, you know. So yeah. Sorry, I just got a Snapchat. Anyways, but I'm gonna reply to that later. So yeah, everybody's story is different, no matter what, you know. That's life. So, I got sent in the room with her, and I think it was because she had beefs with so many of the other young girls, you know. And I really avoided it because I didn't date there, you know. I only dated one person, and that was shortly before I left, and they were the same age as me and a smidge younger, like about a couple months, but same age as me, and um, and yeah, we both left the program, so into us talking. So yeah. So it wasn't like I dated anybody there. So at work, places like programs, places like even if you're young and it's your first apartment, your apartment complex, my advice to you young people, don't ish where you lay or where you make your money at, where you lay your head at. Keep things copacetic. That's my advice to you. You can't talk to everybody. You just can't. Yeah. So, yeah. I ended up in the room with her, and she had like really big beefs with everybody. But I'm one of the people who, at least I try to be. You know, when I was younger, I'd be swayed more by people. But now, as an adult and seeing several things, and people be straight cap or whatever. Anywho, some people like you to not like somebody, but then they don't be about that same energy. Throw dirt on their name behind them and don't be about the same energy to their face. I'm about the same energy to your face. So anywho, so yeah, freaking and then they're all teenage girls, so of course you don't like each other, and they're all dating the same dudes up in there. A lot of the time, a dude will put the battery in your back and make you not like somebody, especially when you're all young, and then you don't even know he doing it, you know, when you're young. So I just took it with a grain of salt. So you know, I could care less about all that shit. So I was just, you know, this whole time, this was like late winter. The whole time I'm like waiting to get my license, and the thing is they only had one car and one instructor. That's what they like to do in job court. Have one instructor. So yeah, the vehicle was down. Something happened to it. Somebody did something. I think somebody crashed. I don't know. So they had to get a whole new car or some shit. And I hadn't gone and did anything yet because it went in waves. So when I first came in the fall, he had already had people signed up. So I had to wait until the winter to get, because it's one person and it's like 300, 600 kids on, you know, campus. And then the teens want to learn how to drive too. And everybody gets a fair chance. And so you'd only get taken like twice per month, I think, to like learn how to drive. Yeah. Which is terrible. It's not enough time, but what can you do? So anyway, and I did not, when I tell you I did not have nobody to fucking teach me how to drive. I think the only person who ever tried was my best friend Angela, and I broke her stick thingy. She's still, to this day, you know that TikTok where the guy's like, to this day she laughed about that. We started hanging out again, and I'm driving my car. She's like, you're a good driver. I was like, thank you. It felt good hearing her say, you know, because she tried to help me out. And she was like, remember when you broke my stick? She like, remember when you broke my stick? I'm like, I remember, yes. I'm like, I'm still sorry. To this day. Anyways, but yeah. So yeah. I'm sorry I broke your stick. Angela, thank you for being the only person to ever teach me how to drive. Like, my mom did some stuff, but she didn't really want me to have she didn't want me to cop no L's for real. I'm just being honest. So anyways, yeah. how I finally did get my license, spoiler alert, I had to pay $50 an hour for an instructor to teach me private lessons. I biked between 2 jobs and paid for private lessons when I was 24. So I wouldn't get my license until years later. But I got that and I'm out here, okay? No tickets either. So anyway. So for all that time waiting, being a late bloomer, you know, and having every disadvantage, I'm a good driver. So that's all that matters. So if you're a late bloomer and taking longer to do stuff, it's his time, okay? And if you don't believe in that, well, the timing will be the timing for you. Your time will come. Let's just say it like that, okay? Because I'm not going to argue with you. Anyways. But yeah, I feel like talking with my hands today. If you couldn't tell, I had a lot of coffee. But yeah, so I had to wait. So I had to wait until winter time. So that's to kind of explain the timeline, because girl, don't take you that long to get your license. Especially not as an adult, because you don't have to have the permit and all that stuff. I know, even though they made me get my permit. They made everybody do that. I just remember that. But anyways, you don't have to. You don't have to do a written portion either. So stuff is quicker when you're over the age of 18 to get your license than it is when you aren't. At least in my state. But yeah, so that's why it took so freaking long. Well, I didn't end up getting it there anyway. We'll get into why in a second. So yeah, I was waiting on that vehicle to be repaired. In the meantime, me and my terrible roommate became roommates. And she was 16 years of age, and it was only me and her in the room. Usually there's 4 beds in the room, in the dorm room, and 1 bathroom in there. And yeah, and we all have separate closets. Like, we all have separate closets, okay? Anyway, you don't care to hear about it. So anyway, that's the layout. So she would be on one end of the room, I'd be on one end of the room, 2 empty beds in the middle of us. It was what it was. And so she and I were roommates for 3 months, maybe? But I was trying to give her a fair chance. A bunch of women were like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. So like the RA on the floor, the room advisor, she like, you know, was kind of at her wit's end with it, with the whole thing. Not for real, but for real. So she wanted somebody to volunteer to be her roommate. So I did, because I didn't have an issue with her or any of the young girls, you know, for real. So I was just like, to this day I don't even remember really none of them. So to let alone even have an issue, like, this is young girls, you know, what can you do? They're minors. So anyway, I was like, I'll go in the room with her, you know. I volunteer as tribute. It's no big deal. And so, you know, I went in the room with her, because usually I was room captain in any rooms I was in, so I was still the room captain in our room. So, you know, meaning you maintain the cleanliness and order in the room. So, it was no big deal, you know. But I treat her as an equal. I treat anybody as equal. So, we went into the room together. Everybody, the stuff they were talking about, oh, she smell, hygiene-wise, whatever. We all want to say we got the baddest box out. Oh, she talked to every dude. You all talking to a bunch of dudes from what I can tell, because I'm not talking to nobody. So you're all talking to a bunch of dudes to me. If you talk to 2 dudes here, and you need to be getting your fucking diploma, and your parents sent your fast ass here to to get your shit, you shouldn't be talking to nothing but a fucking book, a textbook. But I digress. I'm not judging, I'm just saying. But I ain't dating in high school. That's just me. I hurt some feelings, I don't care. But yeah. So yeah. Sorry, I'm a mom now, so I look at stuff from a different perspective. But I was pretty much looking at it the same way then too, though. Yeah. So, we were in the room together, and I was just trying to not, you know, feed into any of that BS. It was fine, honestly. For the most part, she was like a quiet, considerate roommate. She wasn't in there most of the time. I mean, we didn't really have no room tension. She cleaned. I mean, I don't, you know, I'm just being honest. Like, there really wasn't any odor they was talking about. I ain't never smelled nothing. So, like, from where I was sitting, we was both cleanly. It was easy in the room. The only thing that happened was, so I was working before I went there, so I had a little bit of money left, and the one bill I was paying for was my cable still. So mine, because it was in my name. It was mine and my mom's, but it was in my name. So I was still paying for it. And so I left enough money in there deliberately for 6 months. because I was like, okay, how long is it gonna take me to, you know, do what I need to do here? I was like, at most, I would say 6 months. So I saved 6 months worth of money for specifically that bill. So my mom and I finally did talk. She was like, on the phone. She was like, oh, when is the cable gonna get cut off? I'm like, it's not. I left enough money in there to pay for that. So yeah, because that was what I was supposed to be paying for. Yeah, so anywho, yeah, so she knew about that. I had a little bit more money, I think, on there, so I think I got food. They pay you to be there, so I would pay myself back anyways. But one day I was really fucking hungry, and what they were cooking for, because you can't make food for yourself, what they was cooking was trash, okay? Trash. And so I was hungry as hell. So I decided to get my own food. And so I was being nice, as I still do to this day. And I offered her to get some food with me. I should have never did that, because she would have never known I had a debit card. And she would have never known that I had money on it. Even though you should figure, because my age. You know what I mean? What do I look like out here completely broke? But anyways, yeah, so I wasn't gonna just eat in front of her in the room, because it was the weekend. I wasn't just gonna eat in front of her, but now I just wish I would have lied and said somebody bought it for me or something. Anyways, because everybody else be capped a lot of the time, you know? But oh well. So that's how she came to learn that I had a debit card. So, yeah. That was my downfall. Period. Being nice. It usually fucking is. You know? But oh well. Anyway, God know my heart, and it is what it is. So, yeah, so it's a debit card. It's not a credit card. You can call them up and they gon', you know? And you can't just I couldn't just lock it either, because it was a debit card through my employer. So through the job at the airport. So you can't just lock it. I mean, maybe now you can do shit like that, but back then, no. 2016, no. Like, them pay range cards, anyways, whatever. Or whatever the fuck it's called, I don't know. I don't remember what it was. The money network card. I don't know. But it was one of the, you couldn't lock it. You couldn't lock that shit. At least I didn't have the app. I don't know. I never did. You know. I learned a lot though. I would never go for that now. But I have all cards you can lock now, and they text me when they're charged. So yeah, can't nobody run up and done it like that no more on me. It's been done a few times now, and I'm ahead of it now. So anyways, but yeah, so she got my ass. So what happened? What did happen? I left my closet unlocked, which we both used to do sometimes. I didn't do it often, because all of our closets would have a key, kind of like a big ass locker, if you will. Yeah. So I left it unlocked, and error. But you know, and I faulted myself a lot for this, and I faulted myself a lot when I would get robbed, you know, by bitches, because it's happened a few times. And I would fault myself for it, but somebody who's looking to catch a lick is gonna catch a lick, period, okay? So I don't know why I was victim shaming myself, literally. I didn't even know that was a term, but I would victim shame myself and drag myself mentally, like, through the mud, and really just through the ringer about how can you be so stupid, how can you be so dumb. Even my friends or people I would talk to or ask for help, they'd be like, well, don't be so trusting, don't be so nice, da-da-da. Bruh. But at the end of the day, if somebody wants to do you harm, they're gonna wait and find out a way to do so. So ever since she knew I had a debit card, she knew what the fuck she was gonna do. Little heathen. She knew what she was gonna do. So yeah, it was what it was. Any way I slipped any day, she was gonna be there and ready, you know? So now I'm there and I'm ready. But I had to grow through these situations to get there. So yeah, so her little 16-year-old self fixed herself to go, because we're the only two people in the room. And so I went out of my room to do something real quick. I think to go to the RA, or maybe to go get something. I don't know. But I left my closet locker unlocked. And then the corridor, it's a long corridor that we step out into out of our dorm room. And it has a camera, and the RAs can watch it 24/7 and run it back. So nobody could have went in my room, because we watched it and seen it and nobody did. So therefore, we all get it. So I used to have a very cute, giant, like this big Hello Kitty coin purse, and it was pink and it was so cute. It was glittery, rhinestone studded, bright pink and silver, clasped with the old-fashioned clasp that go like this, you know, with the little balls. So cute that my mom gave me. Anytime my mom has ever given me a Hello Kitty wallet, it got stolen by a bitch. Like, so now I literally have just a plain purple wallet. Plain. That's another thing. I don't know what it is. Listen, I'm superstitious. So at this point, I think it's if I have a wallet that means something to me, something gonna happen to it. That's how I feel now. They done scarred me, okay? I wish I still had it because it was something from when we were close, me and my mom, but, you know, sadly I don't. So this little heathen steals my debit card. I stupidly used to have well, I'm out of town. I'm out of town. I'm like 2.5 hours away from home. So I needed I needed to get a permit, needed to do all this shit. So get my license, so I had my birth certificate because I was born at home. And so I know nowadays they're more updated. The birth certificates are like smaller, some of them. But even though my son's is like a whole big sheet of paper actually. But anyway, mine is small because in 1995 I was born on the living room floor. So I didn't have no doctor delivery. They didn't need all those spaces. I didn't have a dad. I didn't have a hospital I was born at. I didn't have a doctor that delivered me. All they could say was I was alive, basically. But yeah, and related to my mom. But yeah, so it's just a foldable half sheet. So I folded up and it would fit in that giant ass coin purse that I call the wallet, and put my social in there and stuff like that. But I mean, once again, we did have a closet that locked, but I left it unlocked. Okay, it's chill. Anyway, so yeah, I went wherever the hell I went, and she took my shit, and I'm looking everywhere for it, and she's just watching me. This should just be so vindictive, bro. But she just watching me look for it, not saying nothing, and I didn't immediately think it was her. I thought I misplaced it and just didn't put it back in the closet, to be honest with you. But I thought it was still in the room. But it wasn't. I looked high, low. I was getting stressed, upset. I have to tell my mom that I can't pay the rest of the internet, even though I said I would, because I didn't even tell her I was leaving into this program. So I thought it would make it a little bit more decent that I at least paid the freaking internet, yeah. I was like, that's embarrassing. And then I started to think it was her because she was just so nonchalant, uncaring. And then this was the weekend, so she stole my stuff probably on like a Saturday or a Friday. Or I realized on a Saturday. She went home, a home pass, and for a night or two. I'm pretty sure she came back Sunday. So she had a night pass for like a night to go home, and her mom didn't like her either. So even worse, I think, that mine didn't. But she lived local, so her house was a few streets away, so she didn't even have to live on campus. That should tell you how much her mom didn't want her at her house. So she went home anyway, and then she came back with a new ugly weave, if I can be honest with you. Ugly. Don't care. I bought it so I can say it's ugly. And so ugly weave, man. And so I had and so I'm looking at her like, the fuck, because she's 16, so she don't have no job. She don't have no work study where she gets paid, like, yeah. They would pay us $23 and 1 penny. $23 and 1 penny. You're not getting no weave with that. It was like pink, bright pink and black, but it was like synthetic and shiny, and it was hideous. I think it might have been braids, but I think it might have been a wig. Either way, it was ugly as hell. Honestly, I don't care. Ugly as hell. And, yeah. Girl, it was ugly as hell. And so she came back in trying to floss with that shit, because I only had like $60 or $180 on there, I think at that point, or 150, I don't know. But so she took the whole wallet, ditched it, threw it away just to be a bitch. And so I literally couldn't get my license. When I went to the Secretary of State try to get new information for myself, they're like, oh, have you been in the hospital for the past decade? I'm like, nope. He's like, you haven't been to the ER? Nope. I was looking stupid. Like, I had to wait forever, and I'm like, he's not going to give me nothing, so I don't have any proof of who the hell I am. He was like, have you been done this, done that? I'm like, nope, nope. And so finally he took pity on me, and he actually gave me a temporary fucking ID. Thank God. And I had nothing to tell him. He's like, do you have your social? Nope. Do you have a birth certificate? Nope. Have you been to the yard? Nope. I was literally a phantom, thanks to her. And it's like, you could have at least gave me back my wallet because it had sentimental value. You could have at least, you know what I'm saying, left me my identification. Like, and me, nobody ever gives you the choice when they're going to rob your ass. But if you would have, I would at least keep my identification or keep my, and then you can just take the actual money. Like, leave me my identification so I don't have to fucking rebuy it. But anyway, yep. So when they fixed the car for us to go driving, I couldn't go driving. I was really pissed, really annoyed. So I left the center. I left the facility because that was my only essence for being there. I didn't need help with getting a job. I still don't. I didn't need military placement. Considered it. Wasn't for me. And I just needed to learn how to drive. I didn't need a diploma. So it's like, I didn't need anything no more. So I just left and decided to thug it out on my own, spin on my mom's wheels some more, and learn a valuable lesson, not for the last time, about somebody taking your shit. So yeah, that is the story of my terrible roommate. I tried to do investigative work. Like, I looked up the transactions of my debit card, and and then drew like literally a map. And it was like a big triangle around her house, around the facility, and then the mall. And like a gas station by the mall. All in a big little triangle. But I couldn't prove that she stole my stuff. And it was a debit card, so it's not like you can get your money back. So, yeah. So it was basically our word against each other. I moved out of the room. And we just had dry beef, and it's not like I could really like F her up either because she was a minor. So it's just, I was really just stuck, I just got in that situation. It's a felony. I did go to the police station and write a report on her, but we just couldn't figure nothing out. And the police came and like talked to her and stuff, but that was the extent of it. They really couldn't do anything. So, but I did take it there because I wanted to prove a point that I was gonna take it there. Like, I felt because of her age, it was important that I took it to the most extent that I could. Because it's like, next time, and when you're an adult, don't keep thinking you're gonna get away with this type of stuff. And when you're an adult, it's for real, and somebody gonna put hands on you, taking their money, taking their ish. You know what I'm saying? This is pre-COVID times. Imagine after, bruh. Everybody hurting right now. So it's like, no. No. Somebody gonna hurt you behind their money. Okay? So yeah. I hope you enjoyed story time. We're at about 30 minutes. I feel like that's a good part for us, and I'm really done talking. So thank you so much again for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and we will return for the woman in the hallway. So yeah, thanks for joining me again. This has been Rylie Vlogs, Horror Stories with Rylie. Bye.